Hello everyone, I'm Yoko. I've noticed that a lot of information from China often doesn't get accurately conveyed to countries outside of China. That's why I've been collecting information and sharing it in English on this channel. I gather information from various media sources, so I'd appreciate your comments on the content of my videos. Also, English is not my native language, so I use an AI speaker to create the voice to ensure I convey information accurately. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel and supporting it. Previously, I introduced the story of a crime organization with Chinese roots being busted in Singapore. Since then, more details and the latest information have emerged, and I'd like to share information about this matter. First, let me provide some background to the story. Several individuals with Chinese roots were arrested in Singapore on suspicion of money laundering. 10 individuals were arrested, and substantial assets were frozen. Over an extended period, these individuals brought in a significant amount of funds into Singapore and indulged in luxury purchases like local real estate and high-end cars. Additionally, it seems they were making donations to various organizations, possibly in an attempt to legitimize their assets. However, the massive influx of funds into Singapore and extensive real estate transactions caused local prices to rise, leading to difficulties for the local residents. At the same time, wealthy individuals with roots in Singapore became a topic of discussion due to their extravagant real estate acquisitions, attracting attention to their activities and potentially contributing to the crackdown. But that's not all. The funds they brought in were likely proceeds from criminal activities and were challenging to enter Singapore directly. Therefore, they used various means to bring the funds into Singapore. Singapore is known for its strict financial regulations, and the inflow of black money could compromise trust in the banking system and even lead to sanctions from countries like the United States. In addition to these challenges, their activities involved online scams from foreign bases, which were once known as the Internet Scam Villages. However, the exact locations were not specified. Nevertheless, Chinese authorities were dealing with internet fraud and online gambling, making it difficult for this group to operate from within China. As a result, the top leaders of the organization moved abroad, obtained citizenship from countries like Cambodia, and even acquired nationality from more distant countries like Cyprus, Turkey, and Vanuatu. These leaders established overseas bases to operate online gambling sites targeting Chinese customers. Some members of the group, including individuals with the surname Wang, who accumulated significant wealth through online gambling in the Philippines, were highly renowned in Chinese society. Many people from Fujian province worked under Wang and were involved in the operation of large-scale online gambling and online activities, reaching a peak workforce of around 10,000 people. As the organization grew, it adopted a corporate-like structure with specialized departments for various functions. For instance, they needed a sales team to attract customers and had to carry out advertising and social media campaigns. There was also a finance management department responsible for fund collection and management, along with experts dealing with the challenges of moving funds abroad. Furthermore, despite the arrests of top members by Singapore authorities, this criminal organization continues to operate online gambling sites. This organization is highly organized, to the extent that even those operating online gambling sites at the grassroots level might not know who the top figures are. Therefore, even if one of them is apprehended, it seems they continue their daily operations. Among those arrested this time, there is also a boss-like figure within the regeneration mafia, leading a faction known as the Wang faction. This group is named after the Wang surname, and the individual is known as Wang Tek Hui. He is only 34 years old but is said to be a leader of one of the groups within the regeneration mafia. His bank account with 1.7 million Singapore dollars frozen is significant, and he is believed to possess various assets, including real estate, automobiles, and jewelry. Converting 1.7 million Singapore dollars to Japanese yen at a rate of approximately 108 yen per Singapore dollar, it amounts to over 170 million yen. Therefore, it's safe to say that a 34-year-old with such wealth was living quite a lavish life in Singapore. Another individual arrested this time is also a boss-like figure within the organization and is known as the leader of a group called the So faction. He is 40 years old, holds Cambodian citizenship, and somehow possesses a Chinese passport as well. Incidentally, in Japan, there has been recent discussion about not recognizing dual citizenship, meaning that acquiring citizenship from another country would result in losing Japanese citizenship. However, Japan also does not allow retaining Japanese citizenship when acquiring another country's citizenship, which led to a significant debate. In reality, China is not expected to recognize dual citizenship either, but for some reason, some individuals hold multiple passports and can claim to be Canadian or Chinese depending on the situation. This is the situation in China. The individual known as Song Huiyan also appears to hold dual Cambodian and Chinese citizenship, and his bank account has been frozen. When converted to Japanese yen, over 67 million yen in deposits were frozen. This is a substantial amount. They seem to own various assets, including real estate, automobiles, and more. You might wonder how profitable running illegal gambling can be. Chinese people are said to have a liking for gambling, actively participating in various forms of gambling, and their penchant for gambling is widely known. Various forms of gambling exist, and especially in the case of online gambling, if the operators can manipulate the outcomes in some way, it is considered to be profitable. Accumulating such substantial wealth and living a lavish life abroad at a very young age is truly astonishing. However, it's evident that this will not go unnoticed. It's hard to believe they were able to lead such a life for a while. If this incident had occurred in a place other than Singapore, they might not have been apprehended. For example, it is said that there are Chinese mafia groups based in Cambodia. What they are doing is not very different from the individuals arrested in this case. They are involved in fraud using the internet and phones, performing activities similar to what is known as ZOR or scams in Japan. Groups based in Cambodia and other places entice people to make high-income part-time jobs recruiting Taiwanese students, gather callers, essentially detain students who come from Taiwan, and make them conduct fraudulent phone calls. Cambodia still faces security challenges, and there are areas that even Cambodian authorities cannot intervene in. In such cases, Chinese mafia organizations have infiltrated and are involved in fraudulent activities targeting Chinese people and operating gambling sites. In the case of Singapore, the presence of criminals living comfortably can have a negative impact not only on the Singaporean state but also on banking institutions. They might face criticism for not properly scrutinizing black money. The Singaporean government has shown determination to crack down on such activities, but it can be challenging to effectively maintain domestic security when dealing with issues within their borders. For instance, setting up an operation in the Philippines as a base for fraudulent activities has become a problem in Japan as well. There seems to be a sort of model for this type of criminal activity in the underworld, and whenever someone succeeds somewhere, it encourages similar illegal activities elsewhere. The lower-ranking members of these Chinese mafia groups may be in China, but the top leaders are usually in locations that are difficult to reach. They may believe that they have a low chance of being arrested by the Communist Party since they are not in mainland China. However, in reality, the Communist Party sometimes collaborates with other governments and may eventually bring the organization's leaders back to China. There could be hidden elements such as threats and cooperation with local governments. As long as the government's efforts are limited to within its borders, overseas activities may appear relatively safe. From overseas, these criminal organizations can control lower-level members in China. In Japan, there have been cases where crimes, including robberies and murders, were committed by lower-ranking members from abroad. This strategy resembles what is happening in the Philippines and Cambodia, where high-risk tasks are assigned to individuals overseas, potentially resulting in victims. This method may have been copied from other criminal organizations. Regarding China, especially with various forms of fraud involving the internet and phones, I expect such activities to continue. Furthermore, as artificial intelligence advances and language barriers disappear, Japan may become a target for foreign criminal organizations. There have been cases of foreign scammers using machine translation tools to send fraudulent emails, and currently, these scam emails contain strange Japanese expressions. However, as the quality of machine translation improves, it will become increasingly difficult to distinguish between Japanese and foreign emails. Japan has a significant elderly population with substantial savings, making them potential targets. Therefore, measures such as setting certain thresholds for specific financial transactions should be considered. Including third-party verification and notifications may also be considered. This could be challenging and costly, but it is essential to prevent the outflow of funds to foreign criminal organizations. Current measures may still be insufficient. That concludes our discussion for today. Let's meet again next time.